Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning in to AMTV, Alternative Media Television. We've had 4 highly suspicious banker suicides over the past few weeks. Most notably with the death of a gentleman, a 50-year-old dude named Mike Duker, who had worked for Russell Investments and allegedly and suspiciously decided to jump off a bridge in Washington, according to the Associated Press. Now, of course, this has been extremely underreported by the mainstream media. You've been barely able to get a blip out of it in the papers. And nobody has been connecting the dots between all 4 of these individuals and their alleged suicides. Now, keep in mind, there is extreme turmoil in financial markets right now. Emerging markets in general, namely places like Argentina and Turkey, have been experiencing hyperinflation. Argentina's economy and their peso locally suffering a 20% loss in recent weeks. That's hyperinflation of an extreme magnitude. All things, by the way, which are going to come here to the United States at some point when we have to pay the piper of quantitative easing to infinity and 0% interest rates that have artificially supported and blew up even bigger asset bubbles than what we experienced in 2008. Now, Mr. Duker here, who worked for Russell Investments, was well known within the investment and banking community and also very highly respected. In fact, he had worked for the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank and is literally ranked in the top 5% of published economists. He held an undergraduate degree in math from the University of Oregon, a master's degree in economics from Northwestern University, and a PhD from the University of Washington. Somehow decided to kill himself. Now, the first thought that came into my mind is, okay, maybe it's just a random event. Maybe the guy was depressed. Maybe he knows something we don't about the impending financial collapse. Maybe it's coming sooner rather than later, as most people think that are informed and that are following this sort of thing. Maybe he had lost a lot of money. Maybe he had broken up with his wife or a girlfriend or something and decided to take his own life. But what raises an eyebrow is 3 other high-level banker deaths, apparent suicides, that have been, again, grossly underreported in the mainstream media, that have also occurred within days of this gentleman's death. We have a 58-year-old former senior executive at Deutsche Bank, William Broeksmit, who was found dead on January 26 in his home after an apparent suicide. Again, you'd expect these kinds of things to happen during a crash. We saw this in 2008 where there were even some billionaires that were not only blowing their brains out but throwing themselves and their bodies in front of train tracks. In addition to him, on January 27th, we have another individual, a director named Carl Slim 51, who was found dead on the 4th floor of the Shangri-La Hotel in Bangkok. Police said that he committed suicide and that Slim was staying on the 22nd floor with his wife, was attending a board meeting in the Thai capital and just decided to off himself. A day later, another tragic incident occurs, January 28th, when a 39-year-old, pretty young guy, Gabrielle McGee, a JP Morgan employee, died after falling from the roof of its European headquarters in London. A 4th death. Bankers just jumping out of windows suddenly. We have to ask some difficult questions here. Are these people just committing suicide because they know something that we don't? Or can it even be more perverse than that? Could it be a covert assassination operative to off these people? Maybe these people have some kind of information that governments around the world, maybe here in the United States or abroad, don't want them to get their pesky hands on. What makes this even more interesting is yesterday in Argentina, after suffering massive hyperinflation in recent weeks, again with a 20% devaluation of their peso, suddenly and mysteriously and conveniently has a fire destroying highly sensitive banking documents. This happens yesterday. According to the Washington Post, the fire in Argentina at the Iron Mountain Warehouse, a highly secure facility that, by the way, according to its own website, purportedly has multiple protections against fire, including advanced systems that can detect and quench flames without damaging important documents, goes up in flames. with 9 people being killed and all of this sensitive information being destroyed. And we have 4 banker apparent suicides just coordinated and just happens to be timed with the market literally unfolding before us and at our feet in places and parts of the world, most specifically the emerging markets. Places like Argentina, as a result of this massive speculative bubble, of a Federal Reserve here in the United States having only reduced quantitative easing by a paltry $10 billion in its recent meeting, from $85 billion to $75 billion to $65 billion in their last release. We have bankers dying. We have sensitive information and documents, banking documents, just burning up, gasoline being poured off all over them, and facilities, Iron Mountain facilities exploding and killing about 9 people. And 4 high-level bankers, highly respected bankers ranging from firms, from Russell Investments to Deutsche Bank to JP Morgan Chase, suddenly and mysteriously committing suicide. If this isn't suspicious, if this isn't a conspiracy, I don't know what is. We need more research. We need more homework. We also need to know, how are these people connected? How are these 4 people connected? What did they know? Please help us investigate this story, investigate this report. I'm not finished with it. I'm Christopher Green, hard-hitting it in your face as usual. You've been tuning into AMTV, Alternative Media Television. Get this video out. Make it viral.